I love pets, especially dogs. But if the dog next door doesn't stop barking, it can drive you absolutely crazy. Now, in the old days, you just get a lamb chop, soak it in DDT, and throw it over the back fence, barking stops. But in these snobby modern times, dogs are trained to eat pedigree pet products, and they'll just turn their nose up at a chop covered in dead flies that smells a bit funny. So, why not take a more subtle and civilised approach to the problem of the barking dog and take it up with your neighbours directly? That's right. Just invite them over to chat about their dog and put on a nice barbie to talk it over. It's almost ready. So, here's the important part. Make sure they get 2 poison chops. Now, you don't want to end up in jail, so be conservative with your poison, giving them just enough to send them to hospital with the worst case of Barbie belly they've ever had. Here you go. Doesn't that look tops? With the neighbours out of the way for a day or so, the dog will be left on its own. Time for you to play the good neighbour and feed the hungry hound with a huge bowl of yummy milk mixed with a little bubble bath mixture. And then all that's left to do is a concerned and frantic call to the cops and the RSPCA, and in under an hour, your dog problem will be a thing of the past. Hello, is that the RSPCA? Geez, you blokes have a tough job. Oh, ta. And there you have it. You've gotten rid of the dog, but you're still considered a good neighbour. And when they come home, you gently break the news and show them the RSPCA report. Now, I reckon that's a pretty top tip. So you've finally done it. You've taken out a whopping huge mortgage and bought the house of your dreams. And isn't it just perfect? I mean, look at that view. It's worth $1 million alone. But now your only problem is how can you make sure that the view you just forked out for won't get built out? Well, don't worry. It's dead simple. All you need to do is inform the Preservation Society that the scrubland in front of your house is an Aboriginal burial ground. Then start a campaign to have it preserved as a mark of respect. Now, it's best to do this after a torrential downpour, something intense enough to naturally unearth your find. Then, all you need is some human bones, easily picked up on a Tasmanian bushwalk, and a few primitive stone tools that you've banged together in your shed. And, hey presto, development opportunity to very sacred site. Then campaign for the preservation of the site and get as many local residents involved as possible. Hi, just like that. Now, this shouldn't be too difficult at all. These type of people love to think they're conserving culture or helping the arts. I mean, you're really doing them a favour because the next time they're challenged about what they're doing for the Aboriginal community, they can cite the preservation of this site. It's much easier to care about dead Aboriginals than the living ones. And that's all there is to it. You get to keep the view that's rightfully yours whilst establishing yourself as someone who cares in the community. Another terrific tip for those at the top. You know, a recent study has found that parents with four-wheel drives run a higher risk of reversing over their children. The height of vehicles like this result in poor visibility, especially when backing out of driveways. And if you do happen to run over and cripple one of your kiddies, well, do you really want to be living in the burbs with 2.5 kids? Probably not. So to avoid becoming a statistic, I'm going to show you a top way to protect those little people from your people mover. Every time you want to take the four-wheel drive out, just gather the kids together. Then strap a tape recorder to each of them. Now, press play and the tape of a truck reversing will let you know the kids are about. And that's all there is to it. So now, if you don't see anything in your mirrors, let them warn you when you're reversing. Oh, get out of there, you little rascal. Hi. I love my workshop But it seems space is at a premium these days. 21st century urban living means most of us are moving to increasingly smaller residential spaces. So, what do you do when you've got a workshop and nowhere to house it in your new apartment? Here's the answer. Get yourself some brightly coloured paints and start painting your tools in some simple primary colours. My hammer is royal blue, my saw black, and my chisel set a nice cherry red. And I'm thinking I may even tint my spirit leveller in a ripple green. Now, in case you're wondering what's going on, this is called modern art. And these tools on the wall is what's called an installation. It's kind of a brash postmodern representation of the male ethos restricted in a contemporary urban context. At least that's what I tell the ladies. Now, if you want to do a bit of a workshop activity, just take your tools off the wall and use them. And when you're finished, they transform from a tool into an attractive piece of contemporary art. It's the perfect marriage of form and function. So take a tip from Todd and transplant your tools today. And you can transform yourself from a tradesman into an artiste and experience the best of both worlds. Hardcore pornography. It's one of the most enjoyable things in a single man's life. But once you get yourself a lady friend, well, you can kiss the X-rated pleasure factory goodbye. It's merchant ivory time for you. From now on, the only chance you'll get to watch adult entertainment is on a prawn and porn night with your fellow tradesmates. And there's not a lot of point getting all steamed up with a bunch of blokes. You want to be watching it with her. And now, you can. That's right. There is a way for you to get your lady friend to be just as eager as you are to watch something really disgusting and depraved. All you got to do is go down to your local video store and rent a French film. Don't worry about which one. They're all the same. Now, simply dub the soundtrack of your French film over the top of your favourite porno. Don't worry if the sound bears no relation to what's happening on screen. Bad dubbing is traditional in all French films. Next, tell your lady friend that you've obtained a rare copy of the controversial French masterpiece Petite Blanc Vue, which has been banned in this country by narrow-minded fascists. Her pretension factors will kick in big time, and she'll sit through the most depraved stuff imaginable, as long as it's artistic. And there you have it. Hours of filthy porn you can enjoy as a couple. Makes a very powerful statement, doesn't it? You know, there's nothing more satisfying than eating your own food from your own garden. But unfortunately, too many people think they don't have the time to tend to a veggie patch or even the time to wait for nature to deliver the goods. But if you take a tip from Todd, you can maintain that gratifying feeling of self-sufficiency without the hassle. Instead of planting seeds, just bury canned veggies in your garden. You still feel in touch with the land, but you guarantee a meal from your garden instantly. Now, there are a couple of things you should know if you're keen to try this at home. Firstly, make sure your soil has good drainage. If it retains too much moisture, that could spell a spot or two of rust, not to mention rotting away labels, and you don't want potluck for dinner every night. Secondly, this type of gardening is ideal for what we call companion planting. This is when you group together all the vegetables and herbs that complement each other. Like sliced beetroot and 3B mix should always be planted together because they partner up so well in a buffet lunch spread. Try to avoid putting carrots and asparagus together as they are seasonal vegetables and don't really mix well. And if you're living in an apartment or you don't have a garden, you can still be satisfyingly self-sufficient with a simple window box herb garden. Basil. Oh, it always smells sweeter when it's straight from the garden. There's nothing wrong with living in a small apartment. What with housing prices these days, most of us can't afford to live in the salubrious digs that we'd like. What's more, if you're trying to make a good impression with that special lady, sometimes you want to make things appear bigger than they really are. 10 years ago, a home decorator would have told you to install mirrors all down one wall, but no one's fallen for that trick since 1987. The answer is to create the illusion that there's more to your pad than meets the eye. Simply install some fake doors and your bachelor pad will become a multi-room palace. And if anyone asks you what's in the other rooms, just act all mysterious and elusive. Girls love a man of mystery. Oh, g'day. You may have noticed that reality TV has captured the imaginations of not only our nation, but the entire world. Seems we love to turn on the telly and watch a bunch of strangers taking their clothes off, then voting each other off islands or out of houses. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'd love to be involved in a game like this, but the reality is, only one person walks away with that prize. But there is a way for you at home to enjoy the thrills and excitements of the reality TV experience, making sure you walk away with it all. All you need to do is make a list of some of the people in your life. Like here, I've listed down my mum, my dad, my lady friend Lynette, my fellow co-hosts, my mate Kev from footy, and my stylist Tyrone. Now, at the start of every week, I'm going to call up two of these people, the two that have been annoying me the most, and let them know they've been nominated to be voted out of my life. Hello, Kev. Yeah, it's Todd here, mate. Hey, Kev, you know how on Monday night after footy training you dacked me in front of that ladies' netball team? Well, yeah, I've nominated you for eviction out of my immediate circle. So unless you clean up your act, I'm voting you out. Bye. Exciting, isn't it? And it's a great way to keep your family, friends and lovers on their best behaviour. Now, at the end of every week, when you've really had a good think about it, just call up your chosen evictee and let them know that Todd has spoken. Then, cross them off your list. Now, after a month or so, you may begin to feel a little lonely, but don't panic. That's just part of the experience. And as the ancient Chinese proverb goes, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back to you, it's yours forever. And if it doesn't, it was never yours to begin with. But when they do come back, you'll hit the prize pool. Hello? Oh, g'day, Mum. Yeah, of course I'd like you to take me out to lunch. That'd be lovely. Jeez, that was close. 90% of accidents happen in the home, and high usage areas are always going to result in domestic black spots like this. But don't worry, there is something you can do about it before tragedy strikes. Simply install a roundabout in your home's high traffic areas. All you need is an old tyre painted white for safety, then landscaped with some Australian natives for that authentic DMR look. Now you can install these anywhere in your home where collisions can happen, and they're easy to customise to suit a variety of traffic patterns or decors. Remember, roundabouts not only steer traffic in the right direction, they also slow down any potential troublemakers. So, take a tip from Todd and tame your toddler traffic today. I'll leave it out. As any Aussie bloke will tell you, there's nothing more relaxing and natural on the weekend than indulging in a bit of binge drinking. But don't you hate it when it's the morning after and your mates make out that you were the one that went too far and got too drunk? And you don't know if it's true because you can't remember anything. Well, don't despair, because there is a way to total yourself on the weekend and not be the figure of infamy the next day. When you go out, bring along an Aboriginal mate. G'day, Kev.
G'day, mate. How you doing?
Good, mate. That way, it doesn't matter how hammered you get, the next day your mates, like everybody else in the country, will automatically assume that he was drunker than you. You want a beer, Kev? Cool. So, take a tip from Todd, and if you enjoy binge drinking but suffer from blackouts, just bring along a black fella. If you pick your drinking partners carefully, you can enjoy your excess without the remorse. Beer, thanks, mate. You know, these days it's getting harder and harder to meet women. You spend a fortune scouring the local watering holes on a Saturday night, and if you eventually do speak to a woman, she's always reluctant to give you a phone number. Stalkers have a lot to answer for. Well, don't worry. If you take a tip from Todd, you'll find yourself with a list of women's names and phone numbers, and it won't cost you a thing. You just got to make yourself one of these. Then when things get a little quiet in the lady friend department, just hold an open for inspection at your place. All you need is a suit, a clipboard, and a little bit of patience. Then the women will come to you, and it's a great way to make a good first impression. You look nice, you appear to have a good job, and you know the conversations will be forthcoming.
Hi, I'm Miller Johnson. My numbers are on the card.
Oh, so Miller, are you looking to move in or invest?
Oh, definitely move in.
Yeah, I could totally see you living here. And you just do that several times until you have a list of prospective partners and phone numbers.
Hi, I'm Brad Girling. This place is perfect as an investment property.
Oh, yeah. Well, you'd have to get rid of the asbestos and cure the concrete cancer, but yeah, she goes all right. Of course, you have to expect the odd bloke, older woman, or worse, married couple to come wandering through. But if you're organised, you can prevent this by placing an ad in the local paper describing the place as ideal for the single urban professional woman. Then, once you've seen what's on the market, it's just a matter of choosing the right one. Oh, hello, Mila. Yeah, Mila, it's Todd here from the Open Inspection. I was just wondering if you wanted to have a private viewing of the property. Oh, great. I'll see you then. And that's all there is to it. A simple and surefire way to make sure you're always on top of the meeting market. G'day. After a hard day's work, there's nothing sweeter than a relaxing massage to soothe the tensions and worries that are part of daily working life. But it's not always possible to get a massage at home, and massage parlours are seedy. It's hard to find one that actually gives you a massage. So tonight, I'm going to show you how to build your very own home massage device. Simply buy a couple of old washing machines. I picked these up through the trading post for only 25 bucks each. Now, there's no need to hook these babies up to a water supply, but you will have to hook all of them up to the same power board. Then simply set all the machines to spin and put the mattress on top of the machines. Oh, this is great. Now, you can vary the intensity of the vibrations by placing heavier clothes in the machines. For a more intensive ride, simply unbalance the loads. And now, when your special lady friend comes over, start the cycle from the very beginning and let it build up to the spin. And I can promise, it'll feel like the earth really did move. Oh. Today, I'm going to show you how to make something a little bit special. Japanese tempura. Tempura is made from a selection of delicacies that have been coated in an extremely delicate and light batter, then deep fried till they're incredibly crisp. They are delicious and relatively easy to make. Now, tempura batter, unlike stodgy fish and chip batter, is made by mixing a bag of this with some ice cold water. Now, you can find this at any Asian specialty food store, but if you don't have one of them handy, you can whip up something almost as good with some flour, iced water, and egg whites. Traditionally, tempura is made with thinly sliced vegetables or seafoods, but you can use anything you like. And since meat is so highly prized in Japan and so affordable here, I've chosen to tempura these. Just lightly coat them in the batter, letting the excess drain off, then deep fry them for 1 to 2 minutes. Notice the way the batter thins out, becoming almost transparent so you can see the treat inside. Oh, it just looks so appetising. Then drain it for a minute to remove the excess oil. It's healthier that way. Now, To eat these, you're gonna need some Japanese chopsticks. I don't know about you, but I find using two a little bit of a struggle. So I'm gonna do it the Australian way and just use the one. And there you have it, a Japanese tempura treat that's easy to make and even easier to eat.